Hey everybody, it's nice to see you all. Merry Christmas. I have my tree over here. And unfortunately, fires, raging across New South Wales outside. And while you hop on, I just wanted to bring everyone's attention to having a moment, having a consideration for when we think about what we're going to be doing in 2020, having a consideration for what might we do for the environment. Because it has been a really gnarly afternoon. The sky is really strange here. And there has been ash falling from the sky. We're very safe. We're a long way away, but there's a big thing called an inversion layer, which is a layer where everything gets trapped underneath. So all the fires that are burning all over New South Wales at the moment are falling down and wreaking havoc everywhere else. So while we have our Planathon for all of the things that we want to create this year, I want to take a moment to really consider what we can do for the environment in the coming year and how we can be an advocate for the environment, whether it's recycling to lobbying. So I wanted to bring some attention to that. So, hey Sam, hey Chisa, hey Nick, nice Christmas tree, thank you very much. It was the first year that we were able to not necessarily put all the colors and all of the things on the Christmas tree. Hey Gabriella, a Vespa ornament, I love it. Hey Sonia, hey Helen, hey Carmel, hey Rachel, hey Katie, hey, you're local, aren't you, Katie? Nice to see you, lovely. Hopefully the fires aren't affecting you too much. Hey, Susan. Hey, Beth. Hey, Amy. Hey, Trina. Hey, Miranda. Hey, Lorna. Hey, Julia. Another Lisa. Hey, Monica. Hey, Stephanie. Awesome. So for all of you who are popping in to listen and then coming back out, this will be available until the end of the weekend. And it is super exciting because I get to share with you some of the wisdom that we have been sharing with our masterminders, some of the wisdom that we have accumulated over the years hanging out with our own masterminds. And if you haven't downloaded it yet, you need to go and get your free list, your free amazing marketing calendar for the year. If you are a practitioner, this is the one for you. I have already started my highlighting. We'll get to that in a sec. But we've got all of the Australia, New Zealand health awareness months and days and weeks and all of the things to do with what could be helpful for you in your practice as to what you could focus on for that month and not get all your knickers tied up in a knot because you can't remember or think about what you want to create when it comes to content. So I'll get to that shortly. Okay. And who else have we got joining us? Hey, Bonnie, nice to see you. I've seen you over in the hub. Hey, Melinda. Hey, Megan. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Carissa. Hey, Anita. Natalie. Irina. Katie, Catherine, oh my goodness, look at everybody. And Sam, the wonderful Sam has popped in your downloadable just in case you need it. All right, so thank you for joining me today. And wherever you are from all around the globe, I hope you are going to have an amazing Christmas. And then I hope it's followed by a manifestation of your wildest dreams for your vision for 2020. I called it Vision 2020 for a reason. Yes, lots of things are being called that at the moment. And, Vision 2020 is about having that clarity to see what's in front of you. So we're going to have a little moment to close your eyes. And I know this is weird and wacky. It is for me too, because I'm usually over in the Naturpreneur Hub doing these ones or over in the Naturpreneur Journey. But today I'm here in the general public. So please be nice, people. All right. So what I need you to do is close down your eyes wherever you happen to be. And if you are watching this maybe on the replay, you're probably about 5 minutes in and you want to have a moment to really focus in on this. Now, I'm not just messing around and I'm not just saying this and you just wander off and don't do this. It's really, really important to take some time out. And I acknowledge every single one of you who are taking the time out to watch this live, to actually stop and focus in on your dreams. focusing in and paying them attention, like the Tony Robbins quote, if you talk about it, it's a dream. If you envision it, it's possible. But if you schedule it, it's real. So if you envision it, it's possible. If you take the time to daydream about it and then you speak it, there's a whole bunch of really interesting statistics around it being 7 times more likely that your thing is going to become into reality. So what I want you to do is take a moment, take a big breath in, and I want you to relax all your shoulders, all your jaw, all of your muscles, all in your neck, all the way down to your toes. I want you to take another big breath in and relax all your back and all the way to your hips and all the way to your legs. And I want you to take one more big breath in, all the oxygen, so I can fill all your brain so that that imagination can just get firing off into the creativity of what next year could possibly look like for you. And then I want you to relax again. And once you are relaxed, I want you to take a moment to think of somewhere really amazing and really lush, really driven by nature, really safe. And I want you to take a moment and consider that it is December 6th, 2020. And you are sitting in a space and you are opening up your journal from this past year. And in that moment, all you can feel from every single cell in your body and all of that amazing heart space that you have is gratitude for the lessons that you learned this year and the incredible experiences that you had and achievements that you were able to achieve. And when you open up that journal, you might see little cutouts, you might see little things from your vision board. It might be even a flip journal, like on your phone. You might be scrolling through all of the photos that you've seen all that past year since way back on the 6th of December 2019. When you have that sense of gratitude in your cells and when you're thinking about all of the things that you've been able to do, be, and have in this past year, I want you to consider in this moment, who have you been hanging out with this year? How have your friendship circles changed? How has your family changed? How have you been able to contribute to your family? What type of trips have you been able to go on? Where have your travels taken you? For work, for family, for environmental causes, for giving back? What has changed in your workplace? If you imagine where you are actually working now that it's the 6th of December 2020, how has your space changed? How has your clinic changed? How has your office changed? What do you notice about those places and spaces? And how are they making you feel so grateful that you made those changes? What's changed with your bank account? What's changed with your finances? What's changed with your sense of abundance? And how does that look at your home and the spaces that you create at home? What's changed with your health, with your fitness? What are the things you're super proud of with how you've looked after your cells and yourself this year? What about the things that you've learnt this year? Have you learnt or done any new courses? Have you grown the way that you think about yourself or others? Have you learnt a new skill? Have you learnt a new modality? Have you learnt something about business or life? And what else have you done to give back? What does it look like to give back in your community? What does it look like to give back in your family? And what does it look like to give back on a global scale? And what's your contribution of your gifts and talents? How have you honed in on what you know that you can help with? And how have you contributed those gifts and talents in your community, in your family, as a business, and globally? How have you shared your wisdom? What have you created that's new and different that you didn't think that you'd be able to create at the beginning of 2020? What are some of the amazing achievements that you're so proud of when it comes to awards, when it comes to parenting, when it comes to being a friend, when it comes to individual achievements? Maybe you've conquered a mountain, metaphorically or physically. And after you've scrolled through your journal, or you've had those movies of your vision board in your mind, or maybe even you've scrolled through your phone and the photos that were taken in 2020, you can feel that sense of gratitude. You can feel it in your heart, and you can feel it in your cells. What is it that you would tell the 2019 version of you about what's to come? I want you to take 3 deep breaths now, and in a moment, I want you to pop a little message on and let me know what you, the 2020 version of you, is trying to tell the 2019 version of you. Big breath in and relaxing, feeling all of that gratitude pumping through your veins. Another big breath in. And coming back into this virtual room of mine. And a last big breath. All right. This is one of my favorite meditations, and I make it available to quite a few people. And I am excited to hear what your vision for 2020 looks like. What does it contain? And I want to start a conversation about it because I really think we're better off together. I really think having a conversation about the things that we aspire to makes them real. And there's also something about our innate wisdom. There's something about inside you, in actual fact, if you were able to see it with your mind, it can be created in real life. And if you were just able to see that in your mind while you were listening to me, it's already done. Just like we can see on the horizon something or someone, they can see us too. It's just a matter of us being able to see it for it to be real. And so the same thing can happen for you. So what's coming up? Alrighty. Oh, the beautiful messages just keep swimming. Nick, Dory came to you too. Sam, hold on tight, girl. The universe has big ears. Oh, I love that one. The universe is, holy dooly. Rachel, you did it. I'm all about the celebrations, and oh my goodness, I can't wait to celebrate with you guys at the end of next year when all of these amazing, beautiful things have come to fruition. Lisa, feel the fear and do it anyway. Oh my goodness. I happen to know that Lisa Hodgson, she's done an amazing thing, and that she's already appearing on stage this year, which is super exciting. She's booked her first speaking event, which is really cool. Sam, hold on to your dreams, girl. It's going to be quite a ride. And this is the beautiful thing about sharing all of your dreams and aspirations and the ups and the downs, because it is a bit of a ride, especially in the world of business. And we didn't really sign up for that as practitioners generally. Most of the time, we're signing up for a roller coaster ride that we didn't know we were having. We thought it was going to be like the little Mighty Mouse, but in actual fact, it's like the Joker. So I totally hear you on that, Sam. Hey, Lou, nice to see you. Lisa, rest up now because it's going to be busy. Awesome. We just got back from an immersion that we do in Bali. We took 20 people away, and our local healer there, he is an amazing human and an amazing healer and very fortuitous. And he said, this year is going to be more busy, more stress, more happy. And so the Balinese believe in the dark and the light. So maybe there's going to be more busy, but they'll be more happy too, Lisa. Sharon, yes, you did it. Oh, I love that message. Stay focused. Believe in yourself, Jan. I love that. Melissa, don't sweat the small stuff. Oh, you've achieved so much so far. Keep going. Oh, I love that. And acknowledging where we've come from this year, especially, it's so easy to flip off. Oh, yeah, 2019's done, and we're going to get to that in a sec. I wanted to celebrate your amazing year as well and forgive yourself for the things that you either shelved or were the biggest lessons that you had. Well done. Carly, you're an amazing mother. Oh, and your current baby Kismet will be fine while you have baby Raven. I'm so excited to have another Naturpreneur baby in our midst. Carly, you are going to be an amazing mum, and I'm excited that was the message that came through. Beck, get out of the way, Beck. Let it happen and stop fighting it. I love that. Amy, it's going to be way bigger and better than you can imagine. Just go for it. You can't fail. You can't fail. Such a big one. Oh, that hit me in the feels, Ames. Well done. Carla, you're on the right track. Keep going. Susan, know that you can do this and success is just a moment away. Bonnie, you've got this. You're worth it. Trina, things are going to get better. Just keep going. Don't give up. Life is good. Life is balanced. Oh, I like that. And just keep taking the next step. Oh, I love that one, Katie. That resonates with me. Just the next step. Because we get so keen on all of the steps that sometimes the next step is the one that we forget. It's okay not to work all that time. Kimmy, beautiful. Anita, you knew your time was coming. Now it's time to fly. Elise, you finally did it. Oh my goodness, you've got this. Who else has got you've got this? High fives. Amazing. Look at all these amazing messages and wisdom that are coming through each of you for yourselves. So incredible. And all we need to do is take just a moment to listen. I love this. Oh, the magic is unfolding in perfect timing. So easy to push, isn't it? Beautiful. Incredible. Doors wide open. Step on through. Stay in your own lane and don't worry about what other people are achieving. They have different goals and dreams to me. Stay confident. Oh, I like that, Gabriella. Your wisdom is like strong. Beautiful. Live your truth. Stop looking up. Just look forward. So good. All of this amazing wisdom is already there inside you, and you've got exactly what you need. Now, the other thing that came up for you possibly is some of the visuals about what is available to you. Now, I'm a helicopter pilot, as you guys know, and to plan a trip, plan any venture out in a helicopter, we have to have a flight plan. And for a flight plan, we have to do a whole bunch of research about where we're going to land, because as you can imagine, if we're going to come into a place and we don't know it very well and it's different to what we've been to before, then we're going to have to start figuring out how we're going to get there and what angle we're going to get to land in there. And if there's anything standing in the way, like power lines or random trees or dust all on the ground, that's going to cause us problems to actually land there safely. And so when it comes to you and your dreams, your goals, and all of the visions that you've currently had for your 2020, you have to start considering what's it going to look like as you get closer to those goals. So some of you might have come up with, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to create an e-course. I'm going to go on a trip to give back to a community. I'm going to go to a conference. I'm going to connect with some of my peers. I'm going to learn this particular instrument or this particular new thing. to be able to get there, we need to have the steps along the way so that we don't get completely sidetracked or tripped up at the last minute. So to do that, what I want you to do is go and grab your calendar. Go and grab your calendar. Now, if you've got your calendar, you can also grab any of the other calendars you might have around. So I might be a bit of a planning Fruit Loop. So this is my other big calendar because I like to plan big. And this is my original calendar from the middle of this year. Yes, I'm still here. So the thing about thinking bigger is that you have to start with a large map. And to have a large map is going to be much more able to be focused on where your landing point is if you start from a large map. Now, some of you guys might go, oh, but I'd like to start from my day-to-day or my week-to-week and then build up from there. But when you're going to be looking at trying to fit everything in, because so many of us as practitioners, we have such huge hearts and a lot of creativity. And so we get all up in our heads about all of the things that we want to create. And there is the possibility that we're not going to be able to squeeze them all in. There's another quote that I love from Vishen Lakhiani from Mind Valley. And he says, we overestimate what can be done in 1 year, but we totally underestimate what's achievable in 3. And so the thing is, when we're considering all of this space that we have in a year, we go, wow, I'm going to fill it with a book and an e-course. I'm going to be really visible online. I'm going to be persistent and consistent. And I'm going to make sure that all of my clients know, like, and trust me. And I'm going to have full books. And I'm going to create this retreat. And I might even do this other amazing thing online and create a quiz so that I can help all of the clients that I have, and then I might do a series of workshops for them as well. Anyone else get like that? I want to do all of the things. I want to love all of my clients so hard, and I want to give them all of the things. And then you go 12 months, right? And then this week I've got Christmas is coming up and the end of school's coming up and all of the things, and then the week after goes like that, and then all of a sudden we wonder where that week went, right? So the thing about having all of the things in our minds, and there's so many of us that do, and it's a wonderful gift to have, is that you can totally do all of the things. It's just a matter of time and planning to do all of the things. So that would be you, Nick. And Louise puts her hand up, and Gabriella. And then you do nothing because you get so overwhelmed. I totally hear you. I've been there many a time. And so, but this was me as well a couple of years ago when I experienced really hardcore adrenal fatigue. And it didn't start as me just doing all the things. It was starting just from the bandwidth in my brain taken up with thinking about all of the things, creating a big woof in my cortisol, and then, all the flow-on effects of that. So instead, what we're going to be doing, other people are picking me. Yeah, I love that. Beck, yes, that would be you too. Antonio, and Antonina, sorry, lovely, I always pronounce your name wrong. And Dee, oh my goodness. Yes, so we don't want to get overwhelmed with all of the things, but do know that all of the things are available to you, but whether or not they're in alignment with you and alignment with your 2020 vision is a whole nother story. So you might have had them in your mind, and you might have them sneaking around in the back of your brain, knowing that you can do them. What about if they're aligned with you? So when it comes to alignment, we often talk about values. What do you value the most? So I want you to take a minute, and if you've got a piece of paper in front of you, I want you to take a minute to write it down. What do you value the most in your life? Now, there's going to be some words that come up to your mind straight away. Well, I value, and there might be a value of, say something, a special word like confidence. I value integrity. I value honesty. I value, and so there might be those types of words. There might also be, I value travel. I value my family. I value adventure. I value financial security. I value my home. I value the earth. Whatever those words are, I want you to write them down, because this is how you get into alignment with your goals. Now, all too often, I see for me and my mentees over the past couple of years, when a goal is out of alignment with you because you've picked it because you think you should do it, and there's a whole bunch of shoulds, and somebody else was doing it who is successful, somebody else is doing it who is getting financially rewarded, somebody else is doing who has accolades or some other thing, they're in a whole nother lane, and Gabriella was talking about it before, and you are in your own lane. So keeping in your own lane, you have to be reminded of what your values are to keep you moving in your lane. Whereas somebody else's lane, the reason that they find success in certain things most of the time is because it's actually aligned with either their gifts, their talents, or their values. So what you're good at and what you actually prioritize with your time will actually get done. The things that are a challenge that you're not so good at straight away, that aren't a priority, they usually fall by the wayside and don't get done. Or they become out of alignment. And one of my first e-courses was totally like this. And some of you guys have seen it up on YouTube, Energize and Arise. And if you go and have a look, I've got these like laser eyes, and I'm in this like scary looking corporate style outfit. and at the time, you know, the content is beautiful. You know, I'm talking a lot about cortisol and the science behind it, talking a lot about adrenal fatigue, and the content, the knowledge of it is spot on. Hence it's had so many views. So the knowledge is still there. But everything else about it was completely out of alignment. I have these laser eyes, I got this face full of makeup, I've got this real corporate kind of perspective, and many of you guys that follow me know that I'm not really in alignment with those types of values. And so the thing there is that e-course, when it first came out, I spent thousands, like $8,000 on a producer, and I got the video content done, I got scripts, I get all of the things, I got a new website, and 3 people bought it at $297. And this is the thing, I don't want that for you, and I've seen it time and time again with my mentees. When they create something because they think it's going to get an easy, quick win, or because it is something that somebody else did, or they think they should, the foundations of it crumble underneath. And that's why I want you to take some time right now, is you can have the vision in your mind, but is it aligned with your values? Because your vision and your values align, that goal is just so much more flowy. It's so much easier. And you know those times when you get into flow, and there's a moment where you're like, wow, serendipity is happening. These people are coming and talking to me, and the right opportunity is coming at the right time. And where did that email come from? Oh my goodness, everything I'm asking for is happening. It's when that vision and your values align. So take a moment and have a think about what your values truly are. Nick says, it took me a long time to realize what my lane even looked like. It does. And to find your lane, you have to find it through stopping and contemplating it, but also living through the experience of it. Because sometimes we just wander off thinking that it is our lane, and then it's not until we're like, oh, and then we come back. Totally get it. That was like me, right? As robot Tammy. I love that, Katie. Yeah. I'm literally roboting over into another lane, and it wasn't until I was so far off and I didn't get any sales that everybody else, the public, the general public, recognized how far off I was and didn't buy. So I totally get that. Carla, I need to stop getting distracted with shiny things that appear in my lane but aren't in alignment. Yeah, I get full marks for throwing mud at the wall, but I have to focus on the small mud that sticks and not the big mud running down the wall. I love that. That's such a cool analogy. And yeah, totally. We can throw all of the things against the wall and see what sticks, but it's a whole different thing to actually stop and think about your values. So Some of my number one values, like my top five. I'm a big fan of top fives from back in the day. There was a movie that had this late 80s star in it, and he did top five. What was it called? High Fidelity. Murray's in the background telling me. Yeah, so High Fidelity did top fives. So top five. My top five values, and they change and they weave. They're not set in stone. So my top five values. Number one, family. Many of you guys might have seen my family. Some of you have been away on retreats and immersions with Murray. Family is one of my absolute number one values. And as such, even before I even started today, I put in the school holidays, because without knowing where that is, I won't be able to make a decision for my business, which business is obviously something that I really highly value as well. And hence I talk about it, and I love speaking about it. And this is where you can find your values. You'll notice that the conversation generally goes back to those topics. And especially for me, natural health is one as well. So if I'm at a barbecue or if I'm at a social event, I'll always end up talking to somebody about either their health or how they could do something naturally. Another one of my values, if you know me very well, is adventure. So there's a reason adventure and freedom are up there. And there's a reason I pick helicopters over any other mode of transport to fly, is because it can land anywhere. There's the freedom of landing wherever you like. You don't have to be landing on an airfield. There's just no rules. It's total freedom. Well, it's not entirely. There's a whole bunch of other rules, but that sense of freedom is another one of my values. So when it comes to your values, I want you to have a little moment to think about what it is that you value and what it is that is going to make the biggest impact on you choosing what your goals are and actually succeeding in your goals. Because so many times, a couple of years ago when I started thinking about finances and financial freedom, and I wrote that down as a value. But in actual fact, at the time, this was back at the beginning of my practice, I was like, yes, financial freedom is one of my values and business is one of my values. And then I sat by myself in an office waiting for people to come in the door, not learning about business, not learning about finances, not knowing about either of them either, and not doing anything to work towards that being a value. During this time that I had, I prioritized learning even more about natural health, which was nice, but it didn't align with the things that I said I valued. And then once I turned around a little bit and I prioritized learning a bit more about business, I prioritized learning a bit more about my finances and understanding about money mindset, things started to change. So I want you to take a moment and start to think, what are you prioritizing? What are you spending time, money, and energy on? I spend time, money, and energy on family. I spend time, money, and energy on adventure and freedom. And then I want you to consider that's what's going to fill 2020. Even though you want, writing your book to be a thing, if your sense of consistency isn't necessarily a value, if getting your message out isn't one of your values, if sharing and being visible isn't one of your values, then your book might not get written. And so it's not necessarily that you failed at anything this past year or the years before. It's that it wasn't necessarily in alignment with your values and your vision, and then they didn't line up. And then that thing either fell by the wayside or got shelved, or some other bright, shiny thing that was actually more in alignment with your current values came up and you spent time, energy, and money on it. So Isabel says, family, financial security, travel, and freedom. Oh, I like that. And education. Who else is a big learner here? I want to learn all of the things. Yes, give me all of the qualifications. Fill my brain with more stuff. Knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. But what do you do with it to share and help yourself, your family, and all the potential people who are out there for your wisdom? So Big high fives to all the learners out there. And when it comes to creating rather than consuming your knowledge next year in 2020, what would you create with all the knowledge you already have? You already just proved to me, all of you, about the wisdom that you currently have inside you. And wisdom comes from somewhere deep, but you guys have the brains just full of knowledge that you can help everybody with. And there are so many people in our communities suffering from long-term chronic illness, and it's just getting worse and worse. And you have the knowledge stuck in here, and we have to get that out. So when you consider what you're creating for 2020, consider that too. Bonnie says, I need to start here. Values. So busy worrying about everyone's opinions of me and meeting everyone else's needs. I don't even know what matters to me. Yeah, I hear you. I've been there too. I remember so much losing myself and becoming a mum. So my youngest is 10 now. But in those first couple of years, I was just there for him, for our family. We've got a blended family, so I was there for melding our family together. I was there for business. I was there for my clients. And I had totally forgotten what it was that was important to me. And apart from family and business, there wasn't a lot in between. So absolutely, it's time to have a think about, in your vision, what's there that you can actually direct your and prioritize your time, energy, and money on that you want to grow more of. So beautiful awareness, Bonnie. Thank you for sharing. Melinda's a learner. Oh, we've got more learners wanting to put their hands up to do a master's next year. Come on, people. I can see you. I know you'll all be capable of masters, but then all of that amazing wisdom and knowledge won't be able to be shared with all the people here who are ready to hear from you and be helped by you, and they need to hear it from you. So please, when you're considering extra study and extra modalities, consider that you might have it all inside you already, and that there's people out there just waiting for you to show up. Beck, family, friends, integrity, financial freedom, yes, work-life balance, the elusive work-life balance, growth, fun, tribe, connection, consistency. Oh, Sam, I can already see those inside you. Lovely. Christina, top 5. Business, being a leader, personal development, family, adventure. Oh, I like those. I can resonate with those totally. Jan, you want to share the knowledge. High fives to all the sharers of the knowledge. Melinda, I can't wait to see your journal too. Yay. Amanda, building my own brand, authentic, education, financial freedom. Love that. Oh, and a dash of travel on the side. Balance, creativity, helping others with their message. Elle, oh my goodness, as you do already, just growing it even bigger. Oh, fantastic. Relationships, freedom, adventure, enjoyment. Oh, there's so many juicy words, and so much yumminess. More education from conferences. Oh, high fives for that, Lisa. Hopefully I'll see you at NatEx. Susan, top 5 is family, self-development, financial independence, health, well-being, travel, and experiences. Beautiful. All right. So now you have your 5 words. So we have our vision that we had a little meditation on at the beginning. We have our values. And if you're creating a vision and a values, total flow zone. So when it comes to putting these into your calendar and creating a plan from it, there is a really cool YouTube video that I probably should have looked up today so that I could send you all to it. I'll send it in a follow-up email for anybody who's downloaded the calendar. But what it is a professor, and he explains what happens in life. And often in life, we have a bag of sand, a bag of pebbles, and a couple of big rocks. And if we want to fill up the vase that is our life, the thing that happens for a lot of us is that we grab the sand and we go, yep, okay, let's start with the sand, fill up that vase. And then we go, okay, let's fill it, put all the little bits in there. And then we go, there's no space. We've got our vase here. There's no space for the big rocks. If we do things the other way around, and if we bring in the analogy that the sand is the small details The sand is the finer, little itty bitty gritty things that are happening on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment interactions where we get snooty and cranky and have to do and put them on the to-do list and then check them off and then blame somebody else for it. We try and put those things in, then our vase is completely full, and then some of those other projects we can put on top. But the big important things sometimes don't get enough space. So if we put the big important things in first and we actually plan for those things first, then what we can do is we can put all the pebbles around those. And then the itty bitty gritty things all fall into place anyway, and we don't actually have to prioritize them. So when it comes to those 5 things you just talked about, they are your 5 rocks. For me, like I said, your 5 rocks are, sorry, I'm just quickly catching up. Beautiful. Oh, look at you all identifying your 5 rocks. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Stephen Covey. Yes. Amy, love your genius. Thank you very, very much. Stephen Covey was first describer of this one. And she's popped it in there too. Yay. So what I want you to recognize is, what are your 5 rocks and how are you choosing those things in your year? Now, it isn't about, I'm going to write my book because somebody else did. It is family. If family is your thing, because I've seen quite a number of you in there, then we want to schedule in family time. If family time looks like school holidays, that has to go in first. It's going to dictate how you're going to make a decision on your business. If adventure is in your values, that's a big rock. If you haven't scheduled in a holiday in 2020 and you get to the end of 2020 and you haven't experienced adventure, you're not going to feel in alignment with what you created. So if adventure is on there, you need to fill that in. If you've got financial freedom on there, you have to have a plan for how you are going to create a certain amount of money, a little key performance indicator, a little goal halfway through the year to see if you have saved, if you have moved it to a bank account, if you have bought the thing that you intended on with that savings, if you are on track for creating what your version of financial freedom looks like. If you've said you value financial freedom and it's a bit icky right now thinking about trying to fit that into your plan, it's probably time to actually go and first buy a book or invest in some money mindset. And I've got a video on that as well, where I've interviewed Denise Duffield-Thomas. So if you've said that these things are important to you, they have to go into your plan first. All right. So where are we at? Okay. Oh, awesome. Christina, I just bought our camper van for traveling around Australia. Yes, filling up my cup with adventure. Fantastic. That is so exciting. Oh my goodness. And then where are you going to be in, say, January? Where are you going to visit in February? Is it going to be in alignment with your other goals and values? And I happen to see one of your values was leadership. And, NatEx is one of the conferences that happens to be in February 2020, right here, February 14. You might want to get that camper van up to the Gold Coast, I reckon, Christina. So where are your values aligning so that you can create a moment in time on your calendar that you can work towards? So are we seeing how those things start to fill in the calendar, not you filling them in with the thoughts of what you should do and the other way around, because then we aren't creating something that's alignment. We're more likely to fail and we're more likely not to have the flow that we would like in the year. Okay, Gabriella says she needs an intervention. She's got like 18 things on her top 5 list. I love that, and that's why you get overwhelmed. Cool. So like I'm saying, we need your big rocks. If it is family, chuck those dates in. If it is leadership, business, or freedom, financial freedom, where are you prioritizing your business? Where are you prioritizing? Maybe it's a conference that you want to go to for your business. Maybe it's a course you want to go to for your business. Maybe it's the same with your financial freedom. What do you need to learn or understand? Maybe it's coming to NatEx. Maybe it is going and exploring some amazing courses that are online, or maybe it's going and investing in something like kinesiology or a actual financial advisor. So there's a whole bunch of ways that you can do that, but it needs to be scheduled for it to be real. So we've got those. Then what does your adventure look like? Now, when it comes to adventure, we just heard from Christina. Are you going away on a family trip? Now, our family trips, when I first started out as a Praccie, our family trips looked like going for Choose Tuesday. So Choose Tuesday was because at the time, Murray was working in corporate and I had just started my practice, and we didn't have a lot of money yet. If I wasn't filling up my cup of freedom, I'd kind of self-sabotage and go a little bit funny. And so we had Choose Tuesday, and we would choose somewhere around our area to go for a barbecue, a free barbecue. And so we would take all of the things that we had at home and pop them on the free barbecue, have a picnic. And that was my version of freedom, and that was our version of freedom. Then we started to go, okay, we're going to have one family trip a year. We're going to try and get it overseas. So the first year we went to Tasmania, and that was I mentioned I'm coming back to Tasmania in a couple of weeks, but we went to Tasmania because it was overseas. And then we saved up and we did a little bit of a plan to then go to Fiji the next year as our family trip. And then we realized, and it evolved, that a family trip was great, but Murray and I needed some time away as well. And what we did was we melded that with what we needed for our businesses. So we went on conferences together, either personal development or business development conferences, where we could have time together as well. So it was like tick, 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 tick. And we had to prioritize those in the calendar so that things could work and we could actually make a plan. And I could go, okay, what promotions do I need to create so that this plan can become a reality? Okay, maybe right about that time, that season before, I can create a detox plan, and we can do a 12-week course and a 12-week detox course in real life that all of my clients can come to. And that's exactly what happened. So can you see how things start to meld in as you are looking at what your big rocks are? But please, please, please put your big rocks in first. So suggestions on big rocks. If you've written down business, come to NatEx. You'll get it all there. Business, finance, all of the things. If you've written down adventure or freedom and you want to mix it like I did with Murray right at the beginning, so I kind of ticked a few, killed multiple birds with one stone. I don't like that phrase, but if you want to do that, then we've got the Wolfpack Retreat. If you're a practitioner, come along. You get to have a half holiday, half business, totally tax deductible yumminess where you get to actually learn about your business and have that sense of freedom and adventure while connecting with a whole bunch of people. Other suggestions around family is making sure that you have time out in nature. And we just described before, these fires are crazy, and making the most of nature and getting us back in nature. Going on hikes is basically free. Going on picnics is basically free. Going in a tent, amazing way to start. And then what does it look like outside of those things to then create what comes further outside of that? So what are we coming up with when it comes to thinking about what else you have coming in to your world in 2020? Yes, Christina, Tassie is literally over the Tasman Sea. So it is technically over sea. Awesome. Cool. Okay. Beck. Well, it is. It's a sea. Okay, so, and this is the thing, right? You've got to weasel it in to get those small wins to get to the big wins. And the same thing happens with business. So, for instance, if you are coming to NatEx over here, on the 14th of February. Then you want to be considering what is happening for the weeks prior to that, where you can do a promotion to help your people. How many people can you help to get the amount of money that you need to make to be able to go away safely and easily? What are the things that you need to plan before those big rocks that can help you and other people in your life? So that would mean that February, you could do a Valentine's Day gift voucher promotion, and you could do it on social media, you could do it on your email list, you could be creating an email list if you haven't got it back in January. So then you're focusing, can you see how things start to fill out? January, create the email list. February, put a promotion out for loving one another or being able to provide gift vouchers for a loved one. Then if you're considering things like when it comes to what else you want to create, are you considering creating an e-course? Are you considering creating a retreat? Those types of things need lead time. And lead time is one of the biggest things when it comes to thinking about a promotional plan, launch, or marketing cycle. So here we go with the big words. Do not phase out. It's okay. They're just fancy words for being able to find a natural cycle and rhythm that will match you and your clients for them to be able to buy at a time that makes sense for both you and your clients. So what does that look like? There's a natural, easy occurrence for the seasons, and we're so used to it as natural health practitioners that we have summer, autumn, winter, spring. Here in the Southern Hemisphere, we've got summer over what we've got now. So we've got like December, January, February, and we've got these times where we can consider the types of health conditions that come up for people. And when you look at the calendar, you can also consider that things like the World Leprosy Day is on the 26th of January. It's also Veganuary. Good one for you, Megan. Megan is our resident vegan family expert. She's extraordinary at understanding how to get more veggies into people and how to fully embrace a vegan lifestyle. So there is times when your marketing can align with the messaging that you're putting out and whether or not it's in alignment with you to create a product or a promotion that then fuels what you want to create in your life. So when it comes to January, you might be thinking about summer. You might be thinking about hay fever, the smoke season. You might be thinking about like our resident environmental biology extraordinaire, Amy, is talking about when it comes to houses. What happens in houses in summer is very different to what happens in houses in winter. And when you consider that mold toxin exposure and a whole bunch of those types of things start to kick off in the winter seasons where everything's getting all a bit funky, we start to see those allergen orientated things happening with atopic skin conditions and other things. We want to get in for our clients who are already experiencing those things before that happens. We want to make sure that they know about it before it happens, and when it does happen, that you're there to answer the call for being the right person at the right time for them. So when it comes to creating what you would like to, and places you'd like to go, because you were just all telling me that you want to go to Noosa, we're going to Sri Lanka for Katie's amazing give back experience, to, and that rolls in with learning new things as well for the physical exam techniques. We've got people going to other areas. We want to get away from the cold in Melbourne. We want to go to multiple seasons in one day in different areas. Now, the thing about this is wherever you happen to be and the people that you happen to be serving or the people you would like to serve, they have a cycle of what's going on in their lives, and you have a cycle of what you would like to provide in your life and theirs. Where they match is where magic happens and where you can create something of value to them where they pay you for it. And so when it comes to planning, I know that at the end of June is a really big time for many of us because it's the end of financial year. And if you happen to be serving small business owners, burnt out entrepreneurs, or accountants per se, then you might know that that time of the year is a really big deal for them. Even if you're doing work with corporates or doing work in organizations that have workshops and things like that, you might want to consider that that time of the year is going to be a really powerful time of the year, but busy, but powerful time of the year to be helping in a way that you probably wouldn't usually. So for me in June, I'm going to be doing my national book tour. So I've got a book coming out as well, all about being an entrepreneur. And so I'm going to be doing a book tour then so that it lines up with all of the things that are happening for people to understand how to be empowered by their business and not disempowered by their business, because that's the kind of time where we do feel a little bit disempowered by our businesses. So what is it when it comes to you and when you're thinking about your ideal clients that's happening in January to March? Okay, school's going back. Now, school's going back on here, school's going back here. So when I think about school going back that week, I think, if I have burnt out mums that I'm helping, am I going to talk to them the weekend before school goes back? Probably not. They're not going to listen. But the second that school goes back, they're going to want to hear from me. So that's the time you wanted to create a promotion, and that's when you get your other pens out. So you've seen I've got the red pens out because that's my big rocks. You want to get your other pens out to go, right, that would be the time where my email and my blog post comes out for back to school. Back to school when it comes to taking care of yourself as a mum, back to school when it comes to school sores, lice, and a whole bunch of other stuff that comes in there. Back to school when it comes to what to put in a lunchbox this year, what are the new trends of foods and healthy superfoods that can fit into a lunchbox, and even some of the actual products that are bento boxes and other environmentally sustainable lunch-orientated food ideas. So that's when those types of things come in. Now, the build on that, are you waiting for it? And Sam's putting all her love hearts in because she's a marketing genius with this stuff. I'm like one iota of what she's capable of. She's got a training coming up in a couple of weeks as well. So check her out, Sam Gimmel. Now, that week will then grow out to school's gone back, and if you are helping out mums, if you're helping out families, or if you're helping out kids, school's gone back, and then you send out that wonderful promotion or information that comes at the right time for that mum who can't decide what she's got to put in a lunchbox. She's so exhausted from the holidays that she is just buying the stuff off the shelf. So instead, you put in your recipe, you plop in some really amazing information, and then you're creating value there. And then you create value in week 2 of the term, and you create value in week 3 of the term, and then in week 4, you have an offer. Because you've been in a give, the rule of reciprocity shows you that then they want to be able to give to you. And they want to be able to also come and see you because you've built a know, like, and trust factor that allows them to feel really confident that somewhere in this term, if they come and see you, you could be of value to them or their family. So then you're offering and reminding them that your book now button is here. This is the easy way to book with you. These are the things you help with. And maybe you might be even considering creating a program. So I happen to know that Megan and some others are creating programs for families. And these are awesome for this time of the year because it's before winter when we all go into a caveman mode here in the Southern Hemisphere anyway. Just flip it for the Northern Hemisphere. And you're thinking about what's going to be useful for them moving forwards. So it might be a 4 or 6 week course on what you can do when it comes to lunchboxes, what you can do when it comes to new superfoods that are out, the future of superfoods. 2020 is a great time to be talking about the future of as well, because you know, so many things we've considered. It's 2020, we thought flying cars, but 2020, we're actually going back to these amazing foods that we now consider superfoods. But really rediscovering in a new way. So you might want to consider those types of things. When it comes to in the environmental side of things, oh my goodness, there is so much to think about with the environmental side of things and chronic conditions. Chronic conditions, when you think about the worst case scenario when people find out about these things, whether it is thyroid conditions, whether it's fertility issues, whether it is long-term autoimmune disorders, these things happen throughout the year. Diagnosis happens whenever diagnosis happens. But you might be able to be dropping in value, and then offer, value, and then offer when it comes to not just your one-on-one consultations, but you might want to share some of that wisdom and knowledge that's in your head. Now, if you are creating an e-course or if it's in your mind, the minimum required amount of time is somewhere between 6 months and 6 weeks lead time. You can't just create an e-course. Trust me on this one, Energize and Rise, example number 1. You can't just create an e-course in the space of 2 weeks and then try and sell it. It doesn't work like that. How a launch process works, and this is from Product Launch Formula by Jeff Walker. How a launch process works is you have, let's go to June. Get your June one out if you can see your June one. If you are launching your World Environment Day is on the 5th of June. Look at that. Now, all my environmental peeps, Amy and Lisa and some other people, all of my environmental peeps, if you have an environmental plan for your program this year, World Environment Day is a great day to be launching it. So if you are interested in mold, CIRS, other environmentally driven conditions, and I mean, let's face it, they all are, the 5th of June might be an amazing launch date. Now, think about your launches. I'm launching my book somewhere around the 5th of June as well. So this might be a nice little one for you guys. Minimum required amount of time is 6 weeks. I'll say it again, 6 weeks. So if you're going 5th of June, we've got that whole week, it's the 5th, and then we've got the 4.5 weeks of May leading up to that, and that's just on 5.5 weeks. So we're actually starting at the end of April. So if you are going to do a launch of a book, a program, a workshop, a retreat for 6 months, a launch of a business is about 3 months because you've got to get in the local papers and print. But anything online, the minimum required amount is 6 weeks. So if you're going to launch something in the first week of June, then you want to be thinking back in April. This is the reason, Gabriella, and anyone else who is doing all of the things, your 18 things, the reason that you can't fit them all into the 1 year is because there is a launch process. And if you're talking about a million things at once, no one's going to hear anything from you. A confused mind says no. And so what that means is during that 6 weeks, there is 3 phases. There is a phase where you are opening up yourself again to remind people that you exist. Hi, I am Tammy the Naturopath. Hi, I am Tammy, and I know this stuff about environment. Hi, I'm Tammy. Did you know that CIRS is caused predominantly by mold? Hi, I'm Tammy. Did you know that 20,000 mold spores are in a space of 1 dot that looks like a full stop? Hi, I'm Tammy. I talk about mold. And so that first 2 weeks is all about you and your subject. Hey, this is my blog post about environmental conditions. Hey, did you know that these are all the symptoms of me being connected with the idea of symptomology of environmental conditions and how they affect your body? Hey, if you've got a diagnosis of this, and this, it's probably got something to do with the environment. That's the first 2 weeks. So we're talking about the end of April and the first week of May. Then we're talking about 2 weeks after that, where we're making sure that you are associated with something specific. And you're doing a thing called seeding. So there's a pre-launch, a pre-launch, and then a launch. And so that middle bit, you're seeding the idea that something's coming. You're seeding the idea that you're creating an amazing course. You're seeding the idea that you've collated all of this information from all of these places and spaces, and that you are ready to share it with the world, nearly. You might want to get feedback from people about what they want to hear about as well. So in those 2 weeks, you're connecting you with a specific idea and a specific problem and solution. And so then you're going, hey, me, mold, thinking about creating a course, or I'm finishing off my course. Me, winter, mold. So it's all connecting to the mold side of things, or it's all connecting to the word sirs, or it's all connecting, but you choose one thing that you're connecting with, and then you're getting the ball rolling on that. Hair. All right. So then in your final 2 weeks, you're going, okay, I have a course, and these are the things that are in it, and this is the way it's going to help you, and these are the things that are going to help when it comes to this course or this workshop or this book that I've got, and this is how it's going to change your life. And I have spent so much time, it's one of my favorite topics, I've spent so much time thinking about it. This is the thing. And until a certain point in time, which is our 5th, I'm going to launch it on the 5th of June. I'm going to give you a bonus, and then you can buy it. After the 5th of June, you either don't get a bonus, you don't get it for the early bird price, or it's actually shut for the whole year. Whatever it is for you that fits in with your life, because think about it, June is the last week of, the last month of the term, just before you're heading into the school holidays. So if you've got a 4-week program, and if you're thinking about creating something and launching it, then you've only got 4 weeks until your big rock hits again, if you're a family-orientated person. So now, I know this is a little sideways, but can you see how you start with your big vision? You connect it foundationally to your values. You put your big rocks in, and then there is some strategy around choosing 4 things to do in a year is my suggestion. 4. To do things well, you only want to do 4 things in the year. So if you're launching an e-course, pick that day. I've given you all of the days. All of the days. Pick the day that screams out to you that you go, yes, sickle cell anemia day. That's the one for me. I happen to actually know Kate, who is an amazing practitioner. She has done a whole bunch of stuff on anemia in athletes, so that might be her day. You might choose, what else have we got? Let's see, carbon monoxide awareness week. There's a lot on environmental at the moment. We've got World Hepatitis Day if you're into long-term chronic conditions, complex cases. We have World Sexual Health Day if you are LGBTQ or around the vaginal microbiome and other things like that. We've got our World Alzheimer's Day, Meat-Free Week. Megan, you're in there again. World Diabetes Day. We've got all of these very specific days and very specific months even. So we've got, Epilepsy Awareness Month. We've got Lung Cancer Awareness Month. There's so many opportunities for you to not only connect with the wider conversation that's going on either globally or nationally, to be part of that conversation for that month, that week, that day as a marketing tool, but you also have the opportunity to hook in with the knowledge that you have to provide a promotion or a product so that you can actually help people through the means that you have. All right. So, oh, fantastic. Sam's currently in pre-launch for her new service starting in February. This is the thing. If you want to launch something in January, you better be starting it now. And you've definitely, February, it's the perfect time to be actually launching that. So really, really cool. All right. What else do we have here? Okay, great. Now, I'm totally open to questions. So when it comes to your vision, I'm so glad that you guys shared the wisdom that you have. When it comes to your values, I'm so glad you have that as a foundation. You can start putting in your big rocks so that then your smaller rocks, which are your projects and your promotions, start to fit in there. And then your daily to-do list will just get filled up. The sand will just filter on through that you can either automate, eliminate, delegate, or bring on yourself to actually get those things done. And I highly suggest that it's only 4 things a year. Totally go for it. I did a year where I did 12 things and I got smashing adrenal fatigue from it. So you can try that too. And you might not. You might get amazing support and you might do it a different way. But I highly suggest if you want to do something really well, do 1 thing a year. If you want to do something that is in alignment with you, in an alignment with your peeps, and alignment with the natural cycles of either their life or the marketing world, then I would suggest 4 max. All right, Q&A. Gabriella, what kind of lead time does one need to consider if you need a bit of a train the trainer first? Okay, so need to learn how to make an e-course / book. Oh, okay, cool. So when it comes to, I've got to figure this out for myself along the way, then again, I highly suggest it takes a whole term to learn, a new sport, right? It's a very similar kind of track when it comes to your mind, depending on your strengths and your weaknesses. But so many in our profession are learners at heart. So you're very used to learning already. And so I highly suggest that it's 12 weeks, and you can fast track it if you want to join the Naturpreneur journey, because we do all of that in 6 months now, and that'll be starting in June. So you can definitely learn how to create an e-course quite quickly in a short period of time, but then you'll need 6 weeks after that to actually launch it and start that process. I wouldn't do both at the same time. Learning something, consuming it, to do it 100%, throw yourself really all in on it. You're not then creating at the same time, because then you've still got to actually create the launch process. So hopefully that was helpful. Monica, what's the ideal time in between pre-launch to actually publishing it? Depending on what you're talking about, so when it comes to an ebook can be published whenever you choose, and then you can do a launch later on. Or you can do your pre-launch, again, 6 weeks, and then you can be publishing it straight away. If you're self-publishing, and we've got an amazing speaker at NatEx, Melissa, and she's going to be telling you about her self-publishing journey, and now she's being published in a publishing house, how it actually takes time to create these. And it's usually about 9 months to create your own book. And then it's those last 6 weeks, getting it up on Amazon, making sure that it's the right specs, and making sure that Amazon in Australia is a very different Amazon to the one over in Europe and the US. So they actually have different launch times. So if you're talking about a book, then it's got more intricacies in it. If it comes to publishing your e-course, you can create an e-course. You can know, because you already have inside you the knowledge that you have. You can know what you want to create, and you can have an outline for your course. And you can actually have just the first module of your course created, and then you're getting feedback from your students and the people who have already enrolled and paid money for it, and you're more motivated to actually create the rest of the content, and you're creating content specific to the people who have paid for it. So you can actually create that on the go, and I've seen many multi-million-dollar courses built like that. So yeah, you just have to have the first chunks ready to go, and you have to have a template in your mind. So don't let that stand in the way of you actually creating it. One of the biggest motivators to finish off a course is actually have someone paying for it. Because if you're getting in your own way about perfection, procrastination, I want it to be this way and this way and this way, trust me, I've done that before, and then you sound like none of them. And so there is a possibility, if you want to create something and then invite people along to it and then they pay, you are so much more motivated to do your absolute best to provide the rest of the course. Sam, I always get booked for a talk around World Scleroderma Day. How aligned is that? Okay. Okay. Excellent. So hopefully that answered your question, Monica. I did that like that for my in-person courses. Beautiful. And it makes a really big difference getting that consistent feedback loop. You know, you're creating 1 week, and then you're discussing it, and you're getting interactions, you're getting questions on it, and then you know that the logical sequence for the next amount of information is a certain way, and you want to create that, but then it's going to be flavored by what people are actually asking, because our practitioner brain is still in practitioner speak, and we still think about the things that we know in the way that we've learnt it, which is different to the way that the general public are absorbing information based on their experience, because they're experiencing a health condition, not thinking about a health condition. So yeah. Beck says, get out of my head. Done is better than perfect. Yes, yes. Cool. Els sold both of her courses before she created them. Yeah. And this is the cool thing. I mean, Lisa Messenger from The Collective, which used to be a monthly magazine, which is now biannually, I think. But she also does courses online. She talks about how some of their biggest launches and some of their biggest flops were specifically because they put out a sales page, they put out the information about what they intended to create, and some of these were like physical products. They put out the pre-sale of a physical product so that they could get the money to actually make the thing and then send it out. And often that's the same with books. You'll see that in actual fact, pre-sales of books is so that they can make the books so that they can send them out. Similar kind of thing can happen with courses as well. So you can pre-sale and get the idea about, and Lisa talks about this, that they put out, I think it was a candle. So they were creating journals and the journals were flying off the handle. Oh, no, it was a towel. So they were putting out candles and they were working, and then they put out a towel and nobody bought the towel. So they had this pre-order and they had signed off on a pre-order for external to Australia on getting them made, and nobody bought it from the sales page. So they had to cancel that order, and because they hadn't been made already, everything was fine. So it's a really similar thing when you're getting used to what your audience wants, your community wants, and the people that you're here to help want. You might need to tweak a couple of times what you're actually putting out there. So if you already know about lots of things like gut health, and you know about nutrition when it comes to superfoods, and you know and you love talking about thyroid conditions as well, and you can't decide which one to do, just pick one. Pick one that fits in with your lifestyle and your big goals, and then pop a sales page up about it, start talking about it, see what the interest is. If someone buys it, boom, creating it. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Sam, I'm creating my January 5-day challenge content over the next 2 weeks because people will be signing up daily and motivating me with every email that pops up. Yes. And this is so true, Sam. I love that even your opt-ins, even the freebies that you're creating, you can be so much more motivated when people sign up for it. You're just going to show up for a person. And caveat to that, for all you people that are like freaking out because nobody showed up to your last thing and you're worried that nobody will show up, I've totally been there. My first webinar, I had 20 people sign up for it and nobody showed up for it. My second webinar, I had 21 people and one person showed up for it. So and I've run workshops where nobody was there. I actually stood up the front with my PowerPoint presentation and practiced it because nobody showed up. You have to start somewhere and you have to show up no matter what. If I could tell 2010 Tammy something, it would be just show up. And when you do show up, it's okay. Don't let your heart break. It's one step closer to more people showing up. It's one step closer to your message getting bigger. It's one step closer to feeling more confidence. One step closer. Even if nobody's there, the energy and the experience of it is so powerful to do it. All right. I know that some of you guys needed to hear that too. Okay, Gabriella, oh my gosh, that would stress me out so much, selling before creating. Okay, hands up to anybody else who is stressed about the idea of selling before you've created it. It's totally okay. It's totally okay. If you are not that way inclined, that's cool. So about a third to a half of our practitioner peeps that we help are totally in alignment with, yep, okay, otherwise I wouldn't create it. I can get out of my way. And the other third to a half get themselves all tied up because it has to be perfect. Now, if you are one of those people, do your perfect version. Do your perfectly imperfect version because it is always going to be imperfect and you will always find things to fix about it. So you have to go through the experience of trying to create it perfectly first. But if you don't go through the experience of it and all you're thinking about is that will cause me problems, that will cause me stress, I don't think I can, you have to go through the motions of it to actually create it. And it gets out of the idea realm, first quarter, and then it keeps going around, And then it gets full circle and you go, oh, now I've learned that I can do it, that this worked, this didn't work. I think I tweaked that again. I'd probably hand that over to somebody else. But don't get your knickers in a knot about how much things will stress you out unless you have gone through the process. All right, cool. Hopefully that was helpful too. Tara, I've had a perfect experience of this. First program was a slog. Yeah, you totally perfected the first program. And the second one sold before you were writing it, and it's great. And oh my goodness, and you're such a contribution to the conversation of thyroid, Tara. Tara's over in Perth, and if anyone needs mentoring in thyroid conditions, you know, it's a bit of a minefield. TS what? H, up, down, 1, 2, 3. So she's extraordinary, and she's got some really great programs around that. And yeah, and it's always a pivot. Once you've created something that you think in practitioner head you've worked, and then you tweak it, you're like, oh, that was the thing, but it has to go through the process. So yeah. Okay. Gabriella owns up to being may or may not be a perfectionist. I see you. Okay. Cool. Elle says she works better to a deadline. Yeah, so some people work better to a deadline. I'm definitely one of those. But some people want that perfection kind of thing. But I really invite you to actually, bring that through and just pick one thing and go all the way through with it. From conception to idea to getting it out to the world, to selling it, to having one person on it, be it free or otherwise, showing up no matter what, finishing it, getting feedback, and then deciding what you want to do with it. Don't stop halfway. Don't no quarters all the time trying to make the perfect idea. You got to pick one and go all the way through the process, because then you'll understand. All right, cool. Amanda says she finds it so hard when she wears so many hats. So many of us do, absolutely. And this is the interesting thing about making sure that you pick something that is aligned with your head and your heart, and just do that one thing first. And even going through the process of a whole launch and a whole experience of that, then gives you this, you at least know the launch process for whatever else you're going to be working with as well. I know that Amanda is a doula. She works with families and babies and women and women's circles and all that kind of stuff, but you can do that deep dive into one of them and then spread that out over the year. The other thing that reminds me of is you want to be building from one logical sequence to the next. So at the beginning of the year, for some of you, you might start with an ebook, then you might go to a mini course or a challenge to build your list, then you might go to a full e-course, and then you might go to a retreat. You know, you're building so that people you're taking along the way, and you're bringing people along that can change as you go along. Then not only does it come from products, but it also comes from what you're offering. So in Amanda's case, for instance, if you're working at the beginning of the year, you know that families are all together during the holidays. So you might be talking or offering something around families. Then you know that kids go back to school, and sometimes we're in that season of mums having babies and things like that. So we might be doing doula work. Winter is an incredible time for a lot of women to come back into their wombs and to come back into moon healing and things like that. So we might build on that. And then we might create things later on in the year that build off all three of those, or whichever one actually gave the most kind of growth and response. So yeah. I've got less than 5 minutes, people. I'm getting a wave from my big rock over here from Murray and Elliot. They're giving me a wave. So less than 5 minutes. I'll get to most of your comments now. All right. Hopefully that was helpful, Amanda, and anyone else who is listening as well. All right. Okay. Showing up was your phrase for 2019, Sam. I love that. Okay, this is a great kind of thing to bring this to conclusion as well. If you were going to pick one word, and I always pick one word for the year, my word, so Murray's word for last year was impact. And he made a lot of impact when it came to the people he helped and the companies that he worked for and the retreats that we ran. He also impacted a tree and broke his neck. So when I consider my word, I also consider the dark side of my word. And so because there's two sides of a coin, and we spend a lot of time in Southeast Asia, and there is the dark and the light and the yin and the yang. And so when I choose my words, I choose them very carefully. And so when you choose a word like a phrase like showing up, often there is showing up, and then there is like the most intense cave person times. And I've been there with visibility. Visible was my 2018 word. And I had amazing opportunity to be in front of so many more people. And then there was times where all I wanted to do was hide under the covers. So this year for 2020, my word is clarity. So I'm not going to be surprised when there are moments where I'm in the fog, but I know that clarity is coming on the other side of that. So clarity, when it comes to Vision 2020, you know, putting glasses on and all that kind of stuff, I really love the word clarity, and I also love the word consolidation. I've been having a hard time with the whole notion of simplicity. I'm not too keen on simplicity, like you might have seen. I'm like, Planathon, I'll tell you all of the things. But consolidating into one spot, can't stress it enough, people. Consolidating, and you know, that notion of doing multiple things for in the one moment, consolidating, so bringing it into the whole so that it all works in together. That's my other word. Cool. Okay, so that's what my final action taking. Now, of course, you know, there is action taking at the end of every one of my trainings. So if you are just new to seeing me, definitely go and check out my YouTube channel, and there will be an actionable step at the end of every single one. If you've been in the Naturepreneur journey or club, you'll know that it is all about the action that you take, where the traction that you get is from. So take the action, get the traction, action and traction. So what action are you going to take from today, or even this evening, or this morning, or whenever you're watching this on the replay? What action can you actually take? Be it vision, values, words, or your mission to actually plan it and schedule it so it becomes real. What action can you take today that's going to give you the traction that you need for your Vision 2020 to become a reality? All right. I'm going to catch up with the rest of your comments. If you are watching this on the replay, I'll be answering over the weekend the comments that do come up and giving you as much of the resources that I can. And if I don't get to see you in real life, although I'd love to, so come and check out NatEx 2020. Just Google it, you'll see us there. And if I am going to see you in real life, I can't wait to give you a hug. If you do see me in real life, definitely come up and say hello. I used to freak out about that kind of stuff, but now that that I wander around, and when people do come up, it's so wonderful to feel a real life connection. So definitely come up and give me a hug. If you are coming to NatEx, if you're coming to Wolfpack Week over in Bali, if you're going to join us over there and get some of your goals and your adventures happening. I may see you on Volunteers International or over in Sri Lanka on Katie's event, and I might see you online as well. So make sure you stay in the Naturepreneur Hub or stay on our email list to be updated with anything or all of the things that we come out with, because we come out with free weekly trainings every week. From people and spaces and places all over the world that are impacting our industry and our profession. And it's to keep you motivated and to keep your mindset ready and willing and able to help all of the people that you are here to help. So thank you guys so very much for being here. It has been an absolute pleasure. I love talking all things vision, mission, your uniqueness coming out into the world, and it's such a wonderful time of year for all of this to be happening. And yeah, thank you. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next training, and have an amazing Christmas and good luck for the new year. See ya.